Just finished. What did we just finish?
Scene 3.
Act 3. Yeah, Act 3. Okay, we're done with Act 3. What did we find on Act 3? So what we're doing here is a little board to review. Figure out what we know right now, what we want to know, like what we're intrigued to know based off of where we're at in the story. And then this is what we're going to learn after we read the scenes today. So there are 7 scenes in Act 4. But they're super small. So we're going to take care of 3 today. So we're going to go 1 through 3. Tomorrow we're going to go 4 through 6. Friday is a half a day. Y'all are only here for 30 minutes. So we're going to read scene 7. You guys will have all the Thanksgiving to complete your packet. You're going to be due Monday.
I'm going to the day we come back.
Huh? No. The packet is going to be a minor. Just a minor. Probably just a minor.
This is the packet?
Yeah, those 2 things. Yeah. So you'll take your quiz on Monday when you guys come back. Then we will do the last 2 scenes of Act 5, which is the end of Hamlet. They're not long, but they're not short, so we'll spend 1 day apiece. You'll take your final quiz, and then we will go into getting ready for your finals. So we'll be watching a movie on Hamlet, right? And then you will take basically a test on that, on the movie. That'll be half of a major versus. You guys remember what the other half of major is?
Yeah.
The notes, yeah, the DMW, the notes, daily journal. Okay, so some of you will be taking the final. If you've missed over 3 days and they're not excused, regardless of your grade. So if you need to get that figured out, get it figured out so you don't have to take the final. But for you, anybody who does not know what it is, it's 3 days or less missed, excused. So if you have like 6 days, but you can get 3 of them excused, you're good. And you have a B or above in the class. So those are the rules. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with, what do we know so far about the story of Hamlet in general?
Claudius killed Hamlet.
Okay, so we know for a fact, right? We know that Claudius murdered Hamlet.
He spelled work wrong, but anyways.
No, that's my own way.
And Polonius died.
Okay, so we know that also who killed Polonius? H kills Hamlet. Or killed Hamlet. Or no?
Wait, no. Hamlet killed Claudius. Not Claudius. Polonius.
There you go. So we know that Hamlet killed Polonius. That just happened, right? What are some other broad, just generalizations of the story?
The mom feels bad.
The ghost comes back.
Right, the ghost is a huge one. So we know, all right, so number 3 would be the king.
Gertrude can't see.
King slash ghost.
What about the argument between Hamlet and
Okay, you want like the dynamics, that relationship?
Yeah.
It's like strained all the time because of, really it's more because of Hamlet. He's being kind of like crazy and a player, right? So Ophelia and Hamlet. Relationship, we'll say. Okay, so one last one. What do we know the theme, 1 or 2 themes of this story to be? What are the main 2 themes?
Revenge.
Yes, revenge. There's another one.
Love.
Death.
What is everybody doing to everybody here?
Killing each other.
Killing.
No, there's only one. Well, 2 people have been murdered, actually.
Lying.
What is lying? Deceit.
Oh.
Yeah. So deceit, revenge and deceit. Okay, we'll just put that. Now, we got what has happened. So based on what has happened in the last act, going forward, we know that Hamlet murdered Ophelia, laid out his emotions.
Affiliates.
Polonius.
Affiliate and
Huh? I never get Polonius right, do I? Okay, so we know Hamlet murdered Polonius. Let all his feelings out to his mom for the first time, right? He'd been holding it all in. He finally almost looks like he wants to kill his mom, but he doesn't. And what stops him? What stopped him from
the dad. I mean
the ghost? Yeah, the ghost. The ghost must have came back and saw maybe she wasn't involved.
I mean, to be honest, earlier, like when he first saw the ghost, he told him, the ghost was like, leave your mom alone, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
She had nothing to do with it.
And now here he is putting his hands on the mom, and here comes the ghost, like the dad walking in the room. Like, what are you doing? Get your hands off her.
Right.
So he kind of tells him to get back to the plan. Follow the plot. So he kills on accident, but not really on accident. He kills Polonius, drags him off, kind of joking about it, laughing about it. That's how much he really cares about Polonius, right? So we're there at that point. What do we want to know going into the next act?
Wait,
What's
wasn't
something?
Polonius his best friend, or like?
Polonius was the politician that.
But he like talked to him like every.
Well, that's because Polonius was always, he was so nosy with everybody's business that he was always asking Hamlet, because it was really about his daughter. He was trying to find out why he was mad.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to be buddy-buddy with the king. So, and the queen. So, now what do we want to know? Going forward.
If Hamlet ends up
Yeah, that's the number one thing, right? That's what this whole story is about. Does Hamlet kill Claudius? Okay, what else do we want to know?
Wait, is they gonna send him to England?
Yes, is Claudius going to send him to England? Like, what's his punishment going to be?
That's the
It's not actual.
That's still
No, it's not. I don't know what that is. I'd be saying, but it's I would like to do
I just took his games.
all that how we're excited.
Okay, what else do we want to know?
How will Christians react to that Polonius is Laertes?
There's the one, right? We forgot about this one character who's off in France. Laertes, the son's going to be like, so a big question is, how does Laertes fit into the story? What happens? Does he come back? First of all, do they give him the real story or do they spin it? Do they spin it, you think?
Yeah.
Right? Laertes.
Isn't there an I in there?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. Mister making fun of me yesterday for the way I spell. Okay, so let's think of one more thing. I got a good one. Let's see if y'all can think of one.
Well, how the king,
Mm-hmm.
right? What's gonna happen when he finds out Hamlet knows what happened?
Right. Do you think he's gonna find out?
He definitely
100%.
will.
Okay.
When he gets
Claudius. Will Claudius find out that Hamlet knows officially?
I mean, he's kind of making it obvious. He made a whole show about it or a play about it.
I feel like in scene 3, we get to a point to where right at the end of scene 3, Claudius sneaks something in there, asks Hamlet a question, just kind of like digs at him to see what his, kind of like Hamlet was doing. Now Claudius is doing it to him. So we'll see. We may find out a little something there. Other than that, there's one more thing. My question would be, how does his mom handle this situation? Whose side does she pick? Does she snitch on him for killing Polonius, or does she like make a lie up to say that he didn't do it? Right? How's the mom? She gonna take her son's side or the king's side? Right? So
Proteins.
we'll say Gertrude.
You go for it.
Gertrude's side, or okay. So
You hear this?
we're gonna come back to this at the end and see how many of these we can answer. But for now, we're going to go into reading. They're super quick, right? So we should be on 1. Act 1, scene 1.
This might be like the most confusing book I've ever read.
It gets quick now. Like it gets easier. Where we're at right now, like you'll start to understand what's going on. So we'll start with scene 3. I'm going to break it down. They're super quick. So as we go through it, we'll break it down. You guys can ask questions. Right now, we're starting with Claudius. Right? Claudius enters the chambers. Right? He enters Gertrude's room right as Hamlet takes off with the body.
There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves. You must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son?
So what does he say? He says there's something in these sighs, these profound heaves. He's talking to Gertrude. So what does he mean?
There's someone in this group or family that knows what happened.
Right, and he's like looking at her emotions, and she's huffing and puffing. Like think about it. Hamlet just left. She just had her hair pulled. He was almost slamming her head onto the ground, basically.
He killed Polonius.
He killed Polonius, so she's like in awe, just freaking out. So he's like, what in the world's going on? What just happened? Where's Hamlet? What did he say?
Ah, my good lord, what have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet?
Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras hearing something stir, he whips his rapier out and cries, a rat, a rat. And in his brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man.
So we find out one of our questions right away. She snitches.
Yeah.
She goes right to snitch. She calls Polonius a good old man. Like we all know that's not the case. So that means right away she's opposite of Hamlet. Also, like a really negative word we think of, what is it talking about when we use context about pulled out, whipped out his rapier? What is that?
This is his knife.
Yeah, his sword, his knife, his whatever, to stab at Polonius.
Oh, heavy deed.
So
It
he's
had
like,
been
oh
so
man.
with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all.
So he says it would
To
have
you
been me
yourself,
if I would have
to
been
us,
there.
to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man. But so much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit. But like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, lets it feed even on the pith of life.
So what's he saying? He says it would have been me, first of all. He's like, if I would have been there, he would have killed me. So he's like in awe, kind of. And then he says his liberty is full of threats to all. So his freedom is he said he's threatening everybody. Who knows who he's going to kill next? He's mad. To you yourself, to me, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be blamed on me, whose foresight should have kept short, restrained, and out confined. So what is he saying? Everybody's going to blame me because I knew he was mad, and I didn't send him to England. I let him stay here, and that madness festered. That's what he's saying. So he's more worried that he's going to be in trouble just as much as Hamlet at this point. He's selfish.
Or whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metal's base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done.
Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. And this vile deed we must with all our majesty and skill both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern, friends both, go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closets hath he dragged him. Go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you haste in this. Come, Gertrude. We'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay.
So for him trying to keep this secret, he sure is trying to get this out to everybody. He said he just told the two friends. What did he tell them? He told them that Hamlet murdered Polonius. Now he's saying, let's go tell our other friends, our closest friends, what had happened. So he secretly has a plan here to let everybody know that Hamlet murdered Polonius. Like he's trying to, kind of rub his name through the dirt. So that's what started there. Let's go to scene 2. These are pretty quick scenes.
Safely stowed.
So this is Hamlet.
Hamlet. Lord Hamlet.
Those are the friends.
What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come.
What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
That's 4 black.
Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin.
Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be
Just call him
made
a
by the
sponge.
son of a king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord?
Aye, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an apple in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponge, you shall be dry again.
Okay, so this is some of the greatest writing in the history of mankind.
Excuse me,
Like I know to you guys it might seem a little boring, but this right here is what started metaphors, figurative language. Shakespeare, don't look at the actors, look at the writing, look at Shakespeare. That's why we're reading this. We're not reading this because of these actors, these characters. We're reading this because Shakespeare wrote such great work. First off, if we dive into it, we look at the characters. What is Hamlet saying? We got to realize Hamlet is trying to play them for fools now. He's irritated with them. Hamlet is a prince of one of the largest countries in the world. He's had the greatest and the best education you can get in the world. While these guys, not so much. So he's playing them. He's speaking out riddles. He's speaking out figurative language because he's trying to get everything out of his soul just to kind of let it out, but without telling them. Can we think of anybody else in history, like who we consider, or as human beings consider one of the greatest humans that ever walked the earth that spoke in riddles?
Gandhi.
Gandhi? Who else? Huh?
Dr. Seuss is
I had someone say the Riddler last class.
Jesus.
Jesus spoke in riddles all the time, right? So it's the same thing. If you look at philosophers, you look at Gandhi, they speak in riddles because they're so smart. It's not for the weak to hear. They want people who really care and want to know how to be better people. So in this situation, he's smart. He knows these people are stupid. He doesn't care what they have to say any longer. He's done with them. He knows that they don't have his best interests at heart. So he's playing with them. Like a little mouse, he's just playing with them. So that's why he says what he says. So this is some of the greatest writing ever right here. He says, he calls him a sponge, and Rosencrantz, being a big goofball, doesn't know what he's talking about.
Is he calling them sponge?
He called him a what?
Because
A
they're
trick.
believing everything that they're being told.
Close. So this is why he's calling him a sponge. He says, I, sir, that soaks up the king's favors. So what does a sponge do? It soaks up things, right? So he says, these two guys are doing whatever they can for the king to make the king happy, to be in their good favor. So he says, his rewards, his privileges, with such officers in the king's best service in the end. He keeps them like an apple in the corner of his jaw to be mouthed, to be in last swallowed. So he's saying, yep.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, if the king think he can tell everybody that Hamlet killed Polonius, why couldn't Hamlet tell everybody that Claudius killed?
I feel like the king has more authority.
Yeah, right now it's because the king has more authority and he set him up. He set him up to have Hamlet. Everybody knows Hamlet's mad, so right now people are more likely to believe the king. But also, we're going to find out in a second too, the king, it's going to be hard for him because people are Hamlet's beloved in the country. So he's having to figure out a way to get this done without everybody being mad at the king, right? So in this situation, he's talking about an apple, right, in the mouth. So when you chew an apple, say you have a really good piece, you save it in the back of your mouth as you eat the rest of the apple, and then you eat that and you swallow it. So he's saying, he's using these two guys, his two friends.
Using a metaphor.
Yep. He's saying, hey, yeah, you're good to him right now, but as soon as he's done with you, he's just going to spit you out, or he's going to swallow you. He's done with you. You're no longer needed. Because right now you're my friends. He knows it, so he needs you to get to me. So as you get older, you'll have a significant other, and with that significant other, they have family. So there'll become a time. Everyone goes through this to where when you split up with them, you break up. You're still friends with these people, right? And you still want to be friends with them because they're connected to the person you love. It's just a weird thing. It's like a psychological thing. And you're friends with them until it kind of fades away, right? Because someone gets mad or something happens, and ultimately they're going to take their family's side. Like everybody goes through that. So in this situation, he knows that they're his friends, so Claudius is using them to get to him. That's all he's trying to tell him. So then Rosencrantz says, I understand you not, my lord. So he's like, what are you talking about? Because he can't figure it out. He's just not intelligent. So Hamlet says, man, I'm glad you can't figure it out. Sarcastic speech sleeps in a foolish ear. What does that mean? Cantor, what does that mean? Sarcastic speech sleeps in a foolish ear. What's a fool? Someone not smart.
Yeah.
They can't process. So he's saying, if I tell you something intelligent or a riddle, you can't handle it, you can't process it, so it just stays there. You can't do anything with it. So he's still making fun of them, right? So he's able to say whatever he wants to them in riddles, and they have no clue, and he's able to get out all his feelings. So Hamlet says, the body is with the king, because they asked him, where is the body? He says, the body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. What does that mean? The body is with the king.
It's in his castle, but he doesn't know.
Well, he's talking about another king, and riddles again. What king is he talking about?
God.
Right, he's talking about his dad. Because the body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. So he's saying the spirit's out of the body. He's talked to his dad. The dad is no longer with that body, but he's a spirit. they think he's talking about Claudius. So he kind of goes, never mind. You know, Hamlet's like, you know what, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. So he says, just take me to the king. So now he wants to go see Claudius. So we'll see what goes down. So now we're going to scene 3. Okay, so here's scene 3. Last scene we're going to cover.
I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude.
What does that mean? We just talked about it. Yeah, everybody loves him, so I can't kill him. I can't say off with his head because the whole country will turn on me. So he's like, I got to be very, very considerate and like really kind of think how I'm going to handle this situation.
Who like, not in their judgment, but their eyes. And where 'tis so, the offender's scourge is weighed, but ne'er the offense. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown, by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. How now? What hath befallen?
Okay, so what does he say here? Rosencrantz says, where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we can't get from him. So he's saying he won't tell us where he put the body. So then Claudius, basically he summons him, right? Claudius tells them to bring in Hamlet. So here comes Hamlet. And he says, Hamlet, where is the body? And what does Hamlet say? At supper. He's saying he's at supper. So Claudius says, at supper. Supper where? What are you talking about? So Hamlet gets real deep here. Here's where he goes into his dark mode again. So this is how he looks at humankind now. He says, Hamlet says, not where he eats, but where he is eaten. So what does that mean?
The ground.
Possibly the ground? He says, a certain assembly of worms are eating him now. Your worm is your only emperor for eating. We fat all creatures in order to fat us. So what does that mean? We fat all creatures.
Like, that's how we domesticated.
Right, so like, for instance, my dad owns a ranch. So every year, every 6 months, he would take the biggest cow that we had, the oldest one, he'd bring it in the barn in an air-conditioned environment. He would give it sweet feed, he would give it corn to sweeten up the meat, fatten up the meat. The air conditioner would humidify it, make it real juicy, and then we would butcher it to eat. So that's what they were doing back then, to a certain degree. They were fattening up their cows. Royalty got the best of everything. So he's saying we would fatten up the cows to then fatten ourselves up, and then we fat ourselves for the maggots. So what does that mean?
After you die.
Yeah. So now the maggots really win. We did all this work. We think we're up here, and then the worms and maggots are down here. When in reality, we're the ones that die and they eat us. So they win. So he's saying that's how important human life is. We all take it like we're so important when we're really not. Right? So he says, you're fat king. So this is really important. He says, you're fat king. Why would he say a fat king and a skinny beggar?
Because he has a fat ego.
Well, think about physically. A fat king has cake, meat. A beggar is homeless and is skinny because they have no food. So he says, your fat king and your skinny beggar are but a variety of dishes to the maggots. So it's different foods. Everybody's going to die and go under 6 feet under, and the maggots are going to get us all. That's what he's saying. So he said, we're really not that important. We're not much than what we think we are. So then Claudius says, alas, Hamlet says, a man may fish with the worm that he eat of a king and eat of the fish that hath fed of that worm. What does that mean? Claudius says, and Hamlet says, nothing but to show you that a king may go on a trip through the guts of a beggar. So it says, where is Polonius? In heaven. He basically says you can send your messenger to go find him. If you don't find him, within a month you'll smell him. But you'll probably smell him around the lobby. So he's like letting them know where he's at. And they're like, fine, we'll send someone. And he's, yeah, you can send him because he's going to be there until you find him. He's not going anywhere, he's dead. So why would Hamlet hate Polonius so much?
Because wasn't he with his mom?
Yeah.
Before he was in,
Well,
and he was going to spy on their conversation.
He was gonna, he's a deceitful, he's greedy, he's everything that's bad with humanity, right? So since we know that Hamlet has this issue with humanity, and he sees this guy who represents everything bad with humanity. He doesn't care about him at all. So right now, Hamlet's having an out of body experience. His dad was murdered. His mom is no longer who she thinks. It's not his mom anymore.
He just murdered someone.
Right, and he just murdered someone, so he has nothing to live for. What did it mean when we heard him say to be or not to be? What was he contemplating?
Killing himself.
Right, so he doesn't care if he's alive. So he's about to just he's going off, right, on everybody. So he doesn't care anymore, right? So that's where we're at. So then they say we're gonna send him to England. So Hamlet agrees to go to England. Thought he says, I gotta send you there for your own safety. I'm so worried about you. He's really not, right? He's not really worried about him. So he's sending him to England. So that's where we're left.